When you think about the most dominant life on Earth, you probably picture lions or sharks, or maybe even us humans. But you'd be wrong. The true rulers of this planet are way more subtle. They are the secret architects of evolution, shaping life from the shadows. In this explainer, we're pulling back the curtain on the incredible world of parasites.
All right, let's just start with a number that might blow your mind. Over 50%. Seriously, scientists estimate that more than half of all animal species on this planet are parasitic at some point in their lives. So this isn't some weird niche lifestyle. It is one of the most successful strategies for survival out there. So a number that big immediately brings up a question, right? We use the word parasite all the time, but what does it actually mean? What's the definition of this incredibly common way of life?
Well, to really get it, you have to stop thinking about just one organism. You have to zoom out and look at the relationship itself. This really intimate and often super complex connection between two totally different species.
You know, the word itself actually gives us a great clue. Parasite comes from the ancient Greek parasitos. In old Greek comedies, this was a character who basically just mooched off rich people. Literally, the one who eats at another's table.
And that ancient idea, it lines up perfectly with how we define it in biology today. Parasitism is a close relationship where one organism, the parasite, benefits by hurting the other, the host. Just think of it as a plus-minus interaction. It's always a win for the parasite and a loss for the host. And this gets at the really delicate balance of that relationship. See, a smart parasite doesn't actually want to kill its host. That'd be like setting fire to your own house. The best strategy is to live off the interest, the host's resources, without ever destroying the capital, which is the host itself. Of course, when you're talking about millions of different species, there's not just one way to be a parasite. They've got all kinds of strategies, but we can start by breaking them down based on where and how they live.
So the most basic way to slice it is inside versus out. You've got your ectoparasites, things like ticks and lice that live on the surface of their host. But then you've got endoparasites, and these guys take it to a whole other level. They live deep inside the body. We're talking in the gut, in the blood, or even inside our very cells.
But it's not just about where they live. It's about how they get from one host to another. And this is where things get really wild. A parasite's life cycle is its entire game plan for making more parasites, and some of these game plans are just mind-bogglingly complex.
Let's break that down. A simple, or monogenous, life cycle on the left uses just one host species. Think of a human roundworm. It can live its whole life in one person. But on the right, you see a complex, or heterogeneous life cycle. This requires multiple, different hosts. The malaria parasite is the classic example. It has to jump from a mosquito to a human, and then back to a mosquito just to complete its journey. It's a clever way to spread, but it also makes the parasite's life way, way harder.
And this really intense relationship, one organism living off another, it sets the stage for one of the most powerful forces in all of evolution, a constant, never-ending battle between parasite and host.
This whole dynamic is captured perfectly by something called the Red Queen hypothesis. Basically, it says that for species locked in this kind of struggle, you have to constantly evolve, not to get ahead, but just to stay in the game. If you stand still for even a second, you lose. And yeah, the name literally comes from Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass. The Red Queen's line to Alice just perfectly sums up this whole evolutionary principle. It is a race with no finish line, where both the parasite and the host are just running as fast as they can, forever. So you can picture this race playing out like a constant dance, a back and forth. First, the host population evolves a new defense, let's say a better lock on its cells. Well, in response, the parasite is under huge pressure to evolve a new key. And this cycle just repeats over and over and over, driving amazing diversity in both species.
And what comes out of this incredible arms race? Well, you get some of the most unbelievable survival strategies you will find anywhere in nature. Parasites have become absolute masters of deception and manipulation.
Their number one enemy, of course, is the host's immune system. So some parasites have developed this amazing camouflage where they cover themselves in the host's own molecules to seem friendly. Others are constantly changing their disguise, so the immune system has to relearn its target over and over, and some even hide inside the very immune cells that were sent to destroy them. It is biological espionage at its most sophisticated.
But maybe the wildest strategy of all is manipulation. I mean, some parasites can literally hijack their host's brain with chemicals, changing its behavior to help the parasite get to its next destination. There's a famous one that makes infected rats less afraid of cats. That makes the rat an easy meal, which allows the parasite to get inside the cat to finish its life cycle. It's brilliant and terrifying.
Okay, so this is all fascinating stuff, right? But why does any of it matter to us? Well, because we are not just spectators in this story. Humans are hosts to countless parasites, and their impact on our health, our history, and our society is absolutely enormous.
Just think about the impact of one single parasitic disease, malaria. In 2009 alone, malaria was responsible for an estimated 781,000 deaths. And that's just one of many, many parasitic diseases that hit the world's poorest populations the hardest, creating this awful cycle of sickness and poverty.
So, given all the disease and, frankly, the creepy manipulation, it's really easy to just write off parasites as pure evil, right? But what if it's not that simple? What if, in our super clean modern world, we've gotten rid of something that our bodies actually kind of need?
This leads us to a really fascinating idea called the hygiene hypothesis. The theory basically says that our immune systems evolved over thousands of years in a world that was just full of germs and parasites. Now that we've removed them so effectively from our lives, our immune systems might be, well, bored. And a bored immune system can overreact and start attacking our own bodies, which could be a reason for the huge rise in allergies and autoimmune diseases.
And that leaves us with this truly mind-bending final thought. In our war against parasites, did we accidentally declare war on a part of ourselves? Could finding a way to reconnect with our ancient companions, in a safe, controlled way, actually hold the key to treating some of our most frustrating modern diseases? It's a question that researchers are seriously looking into, and it totally changes how we see the world's secret rulers.